Good morning, Althea. Richard! Hello! Oh, we love when Richard's here. It's a special Sunday. Well, actually, it's not special because he's here a lot. Good morning. My name is Jenny Castleberry, and I am a proud member and super fan of Althea. So good to have you. I will be your mistress of ceremonies today. That's what I like for MC. Makes me sound way more special. Before we get into many of the things that we do, and we'll have an opening prayer, and we will welcome our new folks. I'm going to start with that. Do we have anyone who is here for the first time today? Dang! We have a bunch of people. How fantastic! Thank you for spending this beautiful Sunday morning with us. We are so excited to have you. So we're going to give you a flower. This is just a way to say thank you. It's a way for other people to recognize that you're a new person, so we make sure that they say hello to you. And know, as a first-time person today, that lunch is on us. If you are able to stay with us, we have a beautiful, wonderful, locally sourced, organic, gluten-free options, vegan options lunch every Sunday. And normally there's a donation, but when you're new, it is free for you. So, yay you. If you can't use it today, you can use it another time. Not a problem. All right. While she's still passing out those flowers, just a reminder to please silence your cell phones, turn off your cell phones, put them on the ground, put them on stun, whatever works for you. And We also care deeply about two acknowledgments. Our first is a land acknowledgement. We want to acknowledge that this is the indigenous land of the Cheyenne, Arapaho, and Ute peoples. And by the way, this month is celebrating indigenous peoples, so you're going to hear different things for the rest of this month about that. Their legacy matters because this was their sacred ground, and it is made more holy for Althea because of it. To ensure that this land acknowledgement is more than just a statement, a lot of us just hear a statement and then we say, well, what do we do with that? One of the things that we like to point out is that we intentionally have partners who are housed in our building. Their organizations are housed here, who are impactful partners and allies for Indigenous communities. And these two groups are Spirit of the Sun and Sisters of Color United in Education. And their work through activism, programming, and education is impactful for our Indigenous communities. Our other statement is what is called an anti-racism statement. This is important to us because though we are growing in diversity, we have a long way to go. We recognize that for most years, it was mostly white people that you saw here. We tend to skew a little bit older, and we want to be welcoming and diverse for everyone who is in those two groups, potentially. We have always had and do continue to have a really strong LGBTQ plus queer community at Althea. We have always had those folks as our members in great quantities, but we need to be more welcoming and inclusive of all folks. Our neighbors of color, people with diverse abilities, and other groups that don't have the same privileges. So when you're trying to grow in that direction, and you're not there yet, about the best you can do is say, please help us as we grow toward that. So we want your feedback on how to become more welcoming to everyone. Thank you. All right, and now what we're going to move into to cast the spell that will set the tone and the theme for today is our board president, Bob Burkott, who is going to do a wonderful opening prayer.
Good morning. Morning. So if Jenny is the mistress of ceremony, I must be the mister of the opening prayer today. I will take that as my title. You can call me anything. So before I start, just a little preamble to the way we usually do prayers. They're always affirming prayers. And I will be using the word I often, and I invite you to take that as your own I if it resonates with you to help you come more into this presence and this way of praying and coming together. Okay? So, I just remind myself right here and right now that there is only one power in this universe. It is a power for good. There is not a separate power for evil, because then that which we call God or Spirit would be divided against itself. And so we know that there is only good with a capital G. Even when there are things that I might notice going on in my life or the world, which in my human mind I might declare as bad or evil, I know that behind that is still this one power, this one presence, this one love, this one light. It encompasses all. Whether I am aware of it or not, there is something within me that absolutely knows this truth. It is that place within me and that is within everyone where each of us is intricately connected to the divine. Because each of us is here as a unique expression of this one divine. A unique expression of life, unlike any other who's ever been here before on this planet, or any other who's here now, or any other who shall be here. Each of us comes to this life as a unique expression And our purpose in being here is to express that uniqueness, to express our own way of being creative, and to express our own unique way of bringing more love into our life and into the life of this planet. And so I know that everything is set for today's gathering. I know that the music is already in perfect divine order. I know that the speaker has something to say, and that there's something here for each of us to understand and to open up to through his words. And so I know what needs to be said, and what needs to be heard is heard by each one of us in our own way. And so I give thanks for all of this in advance. I give thanks for this wonderful time of just being together, sharing who we are, and opening to even more of the divine gifts that are here for each one of us always. No matter what the appearance is, no matter what our personal feeling might be at the time, that joy, that love, that peace, that abundance, that life is absolutely here for each one of us. And I accept this. I accept it with thanksgiving, with joy. And so I declare right now, and letting it go, and so it is. Amen.
Good morning. Please rise as you're able and join me in this statement being followed by the face of God. God is all, both invisible and visible. One presence, one mind, one power is all. This one that is all is the perfect life, perfect love, and the perfect substance. We are individualized expressions of God, and are ever one with this perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of love. I hold you in my heart. We are a family. You are the face of God.
A big thank you to Daryl, who is our song leader, our building manager, our guru of everything that holds this place together, pretty much. And when we get to the affirmative prayer section, we can talk about how we basically healed his broken wrist. You might have seen that cast. I think it's all on us. We'll get there. So next, we have our featured musician, Michael Stanwood, who is a longtime friend of Althea and who will be performing on Christmas Eve with us, which is also a long-standing tradition. So just to give you a little bit of background, Michael is a 5-time winner of Westward's Best of Denver for everything, from his recordings to his performances. He has composed scores for dance, theater, and film, as well as 3 critically acclaimed recordings. He's produced multimedia events for the Denver Zoo, the Denver Museum of Nature and Science. He now plays a variety of ethnic instruments like the didgeridoo, the tai kain, and the mimbra, as well as the guitar. Please help me welcome Michael Stanwood.
So I always like to check and see what the theme is, and I talked to Robert, and he thought that receiving this talk would start with the didgeridoo. mind, but it might be the didgeridoo don't. But I have to bring two along, so play two different frequencies, not at the same time. But hopefully this will start. Oh, you can see. Well, just here.
To a gong bath that we have here, right? Many folks, in fact, we have one coming up that I'll mention in the announcements. What flashed into my mind, Michael, is that we need to have Michael with his didgeridoo, gong bath, Greg Wilkins, and a drum circle, and have a special concert where we just bliss out. That is one of the most grounding sounds in the world. Thank you. Seriously. Y'all know me. Like, we're going to make this happen. So anyway, get ready. Stay posted. I would like to move into the portion of our Sunday where we have our guest speaker, who today is Robert Brzezinski. Where's he hiding? Where'd he go? He's he's hiding behind you. That's a good place to be. But let me introduce him to you if you haven't heard him before. He's also one of our favorites. He holds a master's in consciousness studies, is an ordained minister of religious science, and considers himself a lifelong student of transformational leadership. He is currently the spiritual and creative director of New Thought Media Network, a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment. He's many things, and he's also a dynamic spiritual leader, passionate firebrand speaker and teacher, as well as a personal coach, spiritual business consultant, and thought leader. Robert has said yes to the calling of his soul and invites you to answer your call to greatness as soon as possible. So, with his message today entitled, Going Beyond What's Next, Following the Mystical Path of Enlightenment, please help me welcome Robert Brzezinski.
Good morning. When Michael asked me what I would like for him to play this morning, the didgeridoo came forward because, as Jenny said, it's a very grounding feel. And I've been accused a few times of being a little flighty, in a good way. I'm a visionary. I see things from a perspective, and in the last 20 or so years, through the influence of New Thought, from a perspective of one. There's really only one thing going on here. And it's happening as your life, and it's happening as my life. It's happening as all life. And when Jenny reached out to me and said, hey, can you speak before us on this? I'm like, yeah, okay, yep, let me check my schedule, okay, well, you got a title. No. How about going beyond? Okay, going beyond what? Now, this wasn't a conversation with Jenny, I was just doing this in my own mind. Going beyond what? Going beyond what we have always been, so that we can be something more. So that we can be something, well, beyond. And as I sat with this, I realized what I'm talking about, or what's coming through my mind, is that we are each on a mystical path of enlightenment. And that's a phrase I've developed over the past 20 some odd years or so. And it started with a great book by Ram Dass. And he wrote a book called The Path of Awakening. And that's how he described it. And at his time and in his journey, and as I read that book, it's very much he was on his path of awakening. But I made that journey already. And I would gather from the looks of the room and from the smiles in the congregation, most of you have traveled that path of awakening as well. Maybe it's not every day, all day. Maybe there's moments where things look dark and I can forget I've become awakened. Anybody else with me on that one? You don't have to raise your hand. We're in public, you don't have to admit it. So on this path, it really is a path of enlightenment. It is a journey from what we call the beginning, which is our birth. However, in this philosophy, we want to remember there really is no birth or death, and that's a whole other topic for a whole other sermon. We start the journey And okay, let's be real. How many in the room, raise your hand if you can on this one. How many people's lives does your life look exactly like you wanted it to look like when you were 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 years old? Anybody? Okay, I can accept that's true, absolutely. And for the many of us, things are different than we ever imagined. Things are different than we ever envisioned. And that's okay too. Now the subtext of our talk title today, we're on a journey, we're on a path, we're on an experience of recognizing our enlightenment. Recognizing that you already are enlightened. Does that feel weird for everybody? Just to consider that? That you are already an enlightened being, and there's nothing more you need to do, have, be, or become in order to express and live as your greatness? That's the truth as I see it. The subtitle of today is In a World of Constant Change and Constant and Unpredictable Change. I don't know where that came from, why I typed that. Sounds like a movie trailer, doesn't it? In a world of constant and enduring change. That's not change. That's what is. Life is evolving. Life is emerging in new and magnificent and amazing ways, day by day, for each and every one of us. Now, there is an old phrase that says, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. Anybody know the second half of that? If you know it, say it with me. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. The difference becomes in the practices that we use to chop the wood and carry the water. Before I found the New Thought philosophy, I had what I felt was an amazing life. But I didn't enjoy chopping the wood or carrying the water very much. After being introduced to this philosophy of New Thought, I took a different perspective. I had a different idea. I used the practices and the principles that we teach. I used the ideas and the concepts that we live by to say, I want to prove that this stuff really works. And so we set out, my wife and I, was in her purple season this year. I love when she's in the purple season. We set upon this mystical path or journey. Now, I want you to remember, a mystic is one with direct awareness and experience of the absolute, of divine and boundless consciousness. Take that in there. One with direct awareness and experience of the absolute one. How many people here have had that in their lives? Yeah. If your hand didn't go up, get with me later and let's have a conversation. Let's make that happen. Because the truth is, every one of us is a mystic. Every one of us has that opportunity and that ability to be in a direct communication, a direct experience, a direct lived experience of the absolute, of the divine, of a vision for the highest and the best that is your life. A vision of who you are becoming in this world so that you can serve the vision, the mission of this sacred community and perhaps other organizations that you might serve and be a part of. But when I listen, when I'm here, when I sit back here and I listen to Jimmy share these statements of oneness and of affirmation and recognizing the roots upon which this building and this community and this sacred philosophy is built, I am inspired. When this community puts forth that declaration every week to embrace and express inclusivity in ways that I don't see in other communities. I'll be straight up, there's plenty of communities that like the idea of staying small, old, and white. Part of why I say yes when Jimmy calls is because that's not this community. That's not who we are. And this community I see is growing into something, the next evolution, the next opportunity. My wife and I live in Arvada. Across the street from our house, there's a big old cottonwood. This thing's got so many arms and branches, and if you know cottonwoods, most of them are dead at the top at this point. Because when they get that big and they get that old, they can't sustain pushing the water and pushing the sap all the way to the top of the tree. And the tops die out, but they become these great perches for raptors, predator birds. We were having dinner out on the patio one night, and I kind of looked around the side of the house, and I thought I saw a vulture. And so I got up from the dinner table, and I walked around. I didn't see one. I saw 15 vultures hanging out in this tree. Woo, woo, woo. Somebody make sure the little dog's inside, okay? Those vultures had a view, a perspective. They had a vision that no one else in the neighborhood could have, that no one else was capable of having. A couple weeks back, another week back, we're coming home with the dog, and I see a falcon land in an even higher perch, with an even higher perspective, and able to see even further afield. Anyone been up where you can see the curvature of the earth? Hot air balloon, maybe, a very tall building, other places where you can see the curvature of the earth. Well, we can't see the details, can we? Spiritual communities kind of like that sometimes. Some of us can see the curve, the arc of what's happening in a community, in a greater opportunity, in the city, in the state, in the country, and some of us are required to focus a little more on some of the details. What I'm here to tell you, folks, is you have a partner in handling the details. And that's God. That's the one. Our job is to focus on what? Our job is to focus on what we want to experience in our lives. Do we want to live in a 2,000 square foot house, or a 3,000 square foot house, or a 4,000 square foot house? How much are you willing to clean? I think it helps to determine that question, the answer to that question. Do you like an economical car, or do you like a little bit more of a luxury car? Depends on how much you want to pay for gas, or maybe electricity. The questions we face on a daily basis are the details that we have to take care of so we can go hang out on the branches and have a different view. So we can go find a higher perch and look out across the terrain and the landscape and the environment in which we live and ask ourselves, what do I support and what have we had enough of already? What is no longer serving, and how do we transform that? Now, in communities like this, most focus on their spiritual practices. How many people would say they have a solid daily spiritual practice? How many people just raise their hands because you're in public and you don't want anybody else to know that that's not true? Yeah, you don't have to raise your hands for that way. Regardless of what your practice is, the practice is what grounds you. The practice is your roots. Without your spiritual practice anchoring you into Mother Earth, anchoring you into Althea, without your spiritual practices that are anchoring you in, there's no way you can sit on the high perch and look out over the high vision and envision what it is you wish to experience in your life. Envision how you wish to serve. Envision how you would like to see this community serve. We must have the roots in order to take flight in the world. Now I don't think well, for some of you may know this, some of you may not. I've been hanging out here a little bit more often, and I'm really enjoying that. And one of the conversations I got into, someone asked me if I had ever read the book, Powerful is the Light. How many people in the room know what I'm talking about? I think that needs to change. And I had read the book years ago in ministerial school. Powerful is the Light is a biography of Mel Brooks. How many people now know what we're talking about? A few more hands go up. Very good. Thank you. There'll be a book study about this coming soon. Trust me on that. It'll be online. Sorry, Jenny, I haven't told you that I wanted to share with you on that. This building, this sacred land that was built on the lands of the indigenous people and built on the consciousness of those tribes is not just sacred there, it's not just sacred to divine science, it's not just sacred to new thought, it's not just sacred to each one in this room right now. This space is sacred for generations and generations and generations and generations to come. Long past when any of us will have any consideration left about our immortality or not. This sacred space is a place where people have been envisioning a different future all along. This sacred space is a place where you are being invited into that deep practice of envisioning not just what's next. Remember, today's about going beyond what's next. What's next is already written. What's next is already written in your own consciousness. You came into the room today with a group and a set of beliefs and a set of values and a set of ideas and a set of and who you are, and that consciousness preceded you into the room. Now, in a world of new thought, where there is no time or space in the mind of God, that means that you preceded yourself into the room, not only into the space, but into all of time that has existed within this space and will forever exist within this space. I know, metaphysics can get pretty weird sometimes, right? Everybody realize we just recognize we can travel through time? Because you're already doing it. You're already that. I believe the practice of new thought, the practice of spiritual community, is to support us in awakening to these truths so that we can go out and demonstrate them in our lives, as our lives, each and every day. So what is your spiritual practice? Everything in front of you. Every opportunity of your day. From the time your eyes open and that first thought happens to the time your legs swing off the mattress and hit the floor, and your feet hit the floor. My dear wife brought forward a practice to me about 6 months ago. She shared with me a story of a friend and someone and somewhere to come around. And this woman's practice was that she would swing her legs off the bed and allow her feet. And as her feet were going down, she would affirm the presence of God in her life. And then she would anchor that by putting her feet on the floor. That's pretty simple, isn't it? That doesn't take much effort, does it? had a great, fabulous teacher. Wonderful man. We were in a classroom one night, a bunch of people, we're talking about spiritual practices, and somebody asked him, well, what's your spiritual practice? And without missing a beat, he looks at us and he goes, what's ever in front of me? Now, at the time, I thought to myself, well, that's kind of BS. Isn't spiritual practice supposed to be something that's special? And so if everything in front of you is your practice, how is anything special? How don't you set aside time to meditate, or don't you set aside time to pray, or do an affirmative spiritual mind treatment? Don't you set aside time to, oh yeah, I do all that too. But when I get a flat tire on the car, I don't kick and scream at the car. I change the flat tire. Chop wood, carry water. So spiritual practice doesn't have to be something that now I've got to go do, like sign up for a yoga class. Not that that's a bad thing to do, by the way. I believe there's one later today. And if not, get just one soon. It's not something we have to add to our lives, it's just something we have to wake up to in our lives. That each and every one in this room, right now, regardless of age, race, ethnicity, where do you come from, how long you've been on the planet, what color you vote for, none of it holds a candle to the truth that you are a divine expression of God. Whole and complete, there is nothing missing and nothing absent from your life. And everything necessary for the complete and total fulfillment of your mission on this planet is coming into your life exactly as necessary. All right, how many people want to take a breath right now? I wouldn't be able to say these things if I didn't feel I had proven them over the last 20 years of practice. In those same early conversations, it was not only suggested that our spiritual practice could be... Don't ask me to get to this side. No. Left me much stronger. As you leave here today, well, first, I don't want you to leave here. I want you to stick around for lunch. And if you're a first timer, definitely stick around for lunch. It's really, really, really good. But when you find yourself heading back to home today, wherever that might be, when you find yourself in that moment of reflection this afternoon or this evening, when you take that time to look back on this day, I only want you to ask yourself one question. Who did I pray for? Who did I pray with? In New Thought, prayer, we call it by some funny names. Treatment, spiritual mind treatment. If we were here in the days of Nona, she'd sit down with you and treat with you for hours on end, if necessary, until there was a demonstration. Until you expressed a healing. To pray unceasingly. In today's world, we have a tendency not to do that so much. I actually had a minister recently tell me, oh no, that's what I offer to pray. If God shows up in your life and says, may I pray for you, what's the proper answer?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Exactly. And here's what I want. Because here's what it is, folks. You get to focus on the what you want, but God's the one that takes care of the how. It comes into your life. The divine, the universal, is what takes care of the how things show up in our lives. I can't predict when a flock of vultures is going to land on the cottonwood across from my house. But I can be grateful I have a strong enough pocket computer with a great camera that can get a picture of them. I can't predict how this community is going to demonstrate these statements, this vision, this mighty purpose that you are about. I rest in a faith and a trust that the divine takes care of the how when we take care of the what. What we want, what we value, what we believe. And it doesn't mean we also just get to sit around in this room and talk about it every day. Those that have heard me, those that know what I'm about, know that I fully believe once we understand what it is we want and what it is we're about, we give it up and let the divine take care of the how, but that means we also have to be willing to go let our hands do the work. That we have to be willing to be the physical vessel that does the work. I heard a story this week. Now, anybody here from originally from the southeast, Alabama, Florida? You might know what Duke's mayonnaise. Do you know what Duke's mayonnaise? Anybody else know what Duke's mayonnaise? Knows what Duke's mayonnaise? Okay, yeah, nothing to be embarrassed about. That's cool. Duke's is all right. Duke's got together and made 10,000 sandwiches in one day. With a group of people much less than what's in this room right now. And they took those 10,000 sandwiches and they handed them out to the local fruit banks, and they handed them out to some different places. And now, I'm going to be honest when I tell you what kind of sandwiches they are. Because it was a pimento and mayonnaise sandwich. Okay. I withdraw my judgment on white bread. Now, Duke's did that as a publicity piece, right? Because it made some news. It made some media. People are talking about it. You just learned about it. It worked. By making 10,000 sandwiches. What if Althea were to raise up 10,000 prayers in honor of the Brooks sisters? What if Althea was to collaborate and collect 10,000 stories of healing that happened because of a spiritual mind treatment? Here's the way it works, folks. I didn't plan to come up here and say that, but now I have. So, oops, it's out in the universe, which means if you don't do it, somebody else is going to. I let loose what I would like to see happen, and God is now going to take that and figure out the how, and it's going to happen. So everywhere, there is only one. One power, one presence, one infinite intelligence, and that is operating as your life. And that is how I start every prayer. So if you're with me, I ask you to close your eyes, quiet your mind, and really listen to it. Listen to your heart. Listen to your voice. Allow these words to be your own. For it is in this moment that I do recognize one power, one presence, one infinite intelligence that's moving and breathing and having its being as my life perfectly, as the lives of each and every one in this hall perfectly. As everyone unable to be with us in physical form, those with us online, watching at another time, those checking in from another dimension, all part of the oneness, part of the one life, the one source, the everything, the love, the beauty and the truth and the magnificence that is God's life expressing as your life. Breathe that in. Breathe in that energetic vibration of love that you are here to give. Express, feel that vibration of love that you are here to be. Because what I know is I know at the very core of your being, you are perfect. There's nothing broken, nothing absent, nothing wrong with you. Never has been, never will be. And any story to the contrary, any story that wants to argue against your perfection can just go away. We dissipate all of those false beliefs back into the nothingness from whence they came, so we may step into a deep understanding, a deep belief that the perfection of God's life is revealing itself as the lives, as the breath, as the heartbeat, as the mind, as the ideal of everyone in this room and beyond that, and beyond the next after that. Generation after generation of 8 billion people on the planet. There's 8 billion forms of God. And so I awaken each day and recognize that divinity in the hearts and the smile and the mind and the eyes of everyone I encounter. And affirm that together, we are on that path. We are on that journey together. As one. Deeply we are one. Deeply. And so I am thrilled to be present, to witness this evolution of human consciousness that we are loosing into the world. To be present and to witness the great and glorious forms that emerge, the great glorious ways this community shall demonstrate and express itself, the great and glorious ways that the divine reveals itself as the Althea Center for Engaged Spirituality. I am grateful. Grateful beyond measure for this moment, for all that comes next, and all that comes beyond the next. So I affirm this word, release it into the universal law that must manifest upon this belief, that is already demonstrating this word, that is already operating upon this word to bring it into form. I release this word into that law and let it be. And if any of this has resonated in any way, please join me in an affirmation of the truth as we say together. And so it is. So it is. Thank you. I forget which way we're going. Which way are we going?
Mike is coming back.
Ah, here's Mike.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Forgot my picks.
You're all good, Mike. Ladies and gentlemen, please help us welcome back Michael Center.
Talking with Robert before the service today, he thought that perhaps this Thich Nhat Hanh thought would be a good one, and I know I've played it before, but I'm glad it might relate to what he's talking about. This, by the way, was a chant. I went on several retreats with Thich Nhat Hanh, and this was a chant that didn't have music, so I kind of found these chords for it. Here. Breathing in, calm my mind and my body. Breathing out, I smile. Breathing in, I feel the presence within me.
calm my mind and my body. Breathing out, I smile. Breathing in, I feel presence within me. I can rest for a while. Breathing in, I calm my mind and my body. Breathing out, I smile. Breathing in, I feel presence within me. I can rest for a while.
Good morning. The reading today is 4 quotations. Gratitude in advance is the most powerful creative force in the universe. Most people do not know this, yet it is true. Expressing thankfulness in advance is the way of all masters. So do not wait for a thing to happen and then give thanks. Give thanks before it happens and watch energies swirl. To thank God before something occurs is an act of extraordinary faith. And that, of course, is where the power comes from. Neo-Donald Walsh. Peace comes from being able to contribute the best that we have and all that we are toward creating a world that supports everyone. But it is also securing the space for others to contribute the best that they have and that they are. Hafsat Abiola. How to choose a great leader. Choose a leader who will invest in building bridges, not walls, books, not weapons, morality, not corruption, intellectualism and wisdom, not ignorance, stability, not fear and terror, peace, not chaos, love, not hate, convergence, not segregation, tolerance, not discrimination, fairness, not hypocrisy, substance, not superficiality. Character, not immaturity. Transparency, not secrecy. Justice, not lawlessness. Environmental improvement and preservation, not destruction. Truth, not lies. Susie Cassim, American writer, poet, philosopher, and multifaceted artist of Egyptian origin. If one advances confidently in the direction of his dreams and endeavors to live the life which he has imagined, he will meet with success unexpected in common hours. Henry David Thoreau.
Thank you, Barbara. And now is the time when we recognize in all of our grounding and spirituality that to keep the lights on, we have to give. We have to give financially. And so this is the time of the offering. I would like to invite up our ushers with the baskets. We have many ways to give to help keep the lights on, to help our staff, right? Pay for our staff to do all the amazing things that we do in our space. You can put cash in, checks in, jewelry that's worth something. Don't put the stuff. We also have what's called a dip jar in the back, and this is where you take your credit card and you dip it, and it automatically takes $10, touchless, no fuss, no fuss, and each time you do it, it gives us another $10. You also have a QR code because we're so very current in all of our IT technology. So you have a QR code right here on the program you were given that you can give, and you can always go to our website to give. We are in the midst of a fundraiser to raise $100,000 to celebrate our 100th year of this building. This beautiful building is 100 years old this year. You can see our thermometers. Oh, it's so close to that first 10,000. We are at $8,932. So we are so close to that $10,000 mark, which is our first hurdle. So please help us get there. And let's see, I think I've talked about all the many ways to give. And it looks like our ushers are done with the baskets. So now what we like to do is say a little prayer about this money, which is just energy that you have given us. And so if you would please recite with us. The universe provides all that I need and all that I give. With great joy, I share my prosperity, planting seeds for a world I am helping manifest. And so it is. Amen. Thank you. And now we move into our prayers of the people. If you're new to us, you may have picked up on the fact that we believe there is a lot of power behind affirmative prayer. This is a bedrock of what we believe in here. And so know that after the service, if you feel touched about something and would like to have a private session, I believe Dick and Lee Peterson, I just see Lee. Is Dick around? Is he hiding? He's hiding. Okay. Oh, he's not hiding. Y'all aren't sitting together, whatever. I'm not going to ask about that. Maybe y'all need some affirmative prayer. I don't know. They will lead you through a very personal, each one they separate, and so they can handle two folks. Over in our historic library behind this wall, so right after the service, if you would rather have a more personal experience, they will sit down with you and take you through an affirmative prayer. You can also turn in a form on our website. But right now, live and in person, we do a prayers of the people. You'll see a couple of microphones there. If you have someone in your life who needs special prayer, if you need it, if you have a general prayer, now is the time. And what I love is when people tell us about a prayer that they asked for before and let us know how it went. Good, bad, ugly, or divine, right? It's all part of a plan. So please raise your hand if you have a prayer that you would like done right now. All right. Stephanie.
This is for my friends Cindy and Dennis. They lived in Denver for many years and moved to southern New Mexico a year or so ago. And Dennis has developed some serious health issues. And of course, most of their support community was here. So I'd like to affirm that they get the medical help and support that they need.
Thank you. And now normally Rick Kitzman literally writes all this down, names, condition, everything, because he will take it to our team of prayer partners that now is in the 30s, I think, number of people. Who is taking it down for him today because he is not here? I am doing it only because I guess it's prayer. All right. So I'll take down the information. Thank you, Stephanie. All right. Who is next? Yes.
My name's Laura, and I have 2 different things going on in my body that I would like healing on, the resolution, and so I can move forward with flexibility and movement and feeling good.
All right, that's 3 things, but we'll take it. All right, who's next? Oh, okay, we've got a couple folks back there. We'll get up to you here in 1 sec. Oh, or maybe you're first or next. All right.
I have a couple of friends. One is in Florida, in Western Chapel, Florida. She just had cataract surgery and is having some difficulty recovering. My friend Dee in Torrance, California, also is dealing with a second surgery on her other eye and recovering from that. And a lady named Mary Lou who's got a dental issue that needs to be taken care of. She's in Aurora.
And what was the first person's name?
The first person's name was Marola Bittner, B-I-T-N-E-R.
All right. Thank you. Oh, we'll get right back to you.
Good morning, everyone, and namaste.
Yeah.
When I was drinking my morning coffee this morning at 4 o'clock, I was kind of guided by spirit to read this quote to me.
Okay.
It says, I offer you peace, I offer you love, I offer you friendship, I see your beauty, I hear your needs, I feel your feelings. That's my Gandhi.
Thank you. Peter.
Hi, my prayer is for compassion and love for myself, which I could only get from all of you. So my prayer goes to all of you, actually, for being here and holding this great building up and the space that we all have won. Thank you.
Thanks, Peter. All right, and we had, Sarma, and then our friend who's new, first time.
My name is Mary, and I'd appreciate prayers for my sister-in-law, Ronette, who has attempted suicide 4 times. After 5 weeks in the hospital after her 4th attempt, she's being released unready because of no insurance. I believe the only thing that's going to heal her is for everyone to send her love. Just lots of love.
All right.
Thank you. Her name is Ronette.
Ronette. All right. You got it. Okay. Sarma? No? You changed your mind? Okay. Anyone upstairs? I don't want to leave them out. Anyone else? All right. Got Lee.
I would like a prayer for my son who feels disengaged from his spiritual side.
Okay.
And that he finds a sense of love for himself and for what's going on in his life.
And what's his first name?
Titus.
Tyler?
Titus.
Titus. Wow. I'm still getting that wrong. Titus?
Titus.
Okay.
Titus.
Cool. Okay. All right. Okay, we got a couple more. My goodness. We're full of energy today. I love it.
I'd like prayers for a person who used to come to this church, Kate McPhee, who is experiencing a lot of personal problems with her daughter and also with her housing situation.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. I'd like to pray for all the American veterans. 18% of people incarcerated in this country are veterans, and there's a lot of the guys who came back from Iraq and Afghanistan were misdiagnosed. They gave them drugs and post-traumatic stress when they had traumatic brain injuries from being blown up. So I'd like you to pray for the correction of their problems. Thank you.
All right. All right. Sorry? No? Okay. All right. Thank you all so much. Now, we're going to move into quickly some announcements because there are always so many things going on. First of all, if you enjoy our guest speakers, they are different every Sunday. So what we have coming up is Kiana Johnson, who's going to speak to us next Sunday about conflict resolution within your own life. We also have Chris Parente coming up. Raise your hand, Chris. A couple of weeks, we're still working out. Well, we have the date. Yes, we might even have the theme, which is going to be so fun. John Hurst is going to talk to us, so stick around for the rest of November and December. We have some great people coming up. Kevin Lockwood, I'm just going to say the name and I'm not even going to look because you... Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if I could say it to you. Kevin Lockwood's going to speak to us too. He's got some amazing stuff to talk about. So keep coming. Much more fun. Cool musicians. Every week is a different type of music. So you're going to see some of your favorite folks coming. So a few other announcements. Thanksgiving. If you are someone who would like to host people at your home, if you want to be part of a group that goes to a local restaurant, in other words, if you're not doing just the traditional Thanksgiving, or you're an orphan, as we call it sometimes in the holidays for Thanksgiving, we have got your back. So we have a sign-up sheet or sign-up board, marker board in the dining room, where you can say, I would like to host someone, or I'm looking to be hosted, or I want to put together a group for restaurants. So think about doing that. Also, holiday, I'm just going to jump to Winter's Gift. Mark your calendar, Friday, December 9th, $50 a ticket, because we're having prime rib, open bar, an amazing spread of food, music. You get to dress up in your sequins and taffeta and tuxedo, and as dressed up as you want to get. So that's December 9th. If $50 sounds like too much of a ticket price for you, no worries. Work for us. Help us get ready for it before, during, and after. So everybody can come to the Winter's Gift. And every Thursday, bring your yoga mat. This is a brand new yoga class. I'm going to tell you we have 2 yogas. So this is integrative yoga with Linda, brand new, Thursdays, right here, 5:30 to 6:45. Bring a journal and a pen for self-care and reflection. Matthew Quigley, who's also a chef, does yoga every single Sunday, including today at 2:30. His is a much more chill, with music and guitar and what's called restorative yoga. So we've got 2 very different types. We got 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock, sorry. Don't come at 2:30, come at 2. And that is also 90 minutes. Every Thursday on Zoom, we have Kathy Humphreys in the back who does a discussion. This has been going on for an hour and a half at 11 o'clock on Zoom. You can find it on our website. This has been going on for months and months and months and months. Still on Zoom because we have folks who that's how they like to connect with us. Now, the caveat is, this is normally an every week thing, but because of the holidays, she won't be doing it this week or the week of Thanksgiving. But put it on your calendar if it's something that sounds wonderful to you. Let's see what else we got going on. We always need volunteers, right? Sarma in the back? Yes. And we, especially, like I said, the volunteers for Winter's Gift coming up, but we always love helpful folks in the dining room before, during, and after lunch. So see Sarma if you want to give back to this community in any way that is non-monetary, that has to do with volunteers. There will be a deep dive after we start wrapping up lunch with Robert. There he is, the guy who was up on stage. If you like what you heard him talk about, deep dive, which starts, I'm going to say around 12:30 and is in the historic library, takes you into this topic, broken into small facilitated groups by Robert, where you get to know each other and talk about this, and it's in Darwin's Den, which is in a different spot. Because what's going on in the historic library? Oh, sweet. And I'm so glad I made that mistake because now I get to say we have gong bath today. I mentioned a gong bath earlier. If you have never been bathed by a gong, this is your chance starting at 12:30. It is amazing. It is, there it is. See, look how perfect these things worked out. You think I did this on purpose? I'm sure I did. That's Greg Wilkins walking in the back with gong paraphernalia. Thank you. So, gong bath today, I think, one last thing that Sarma told me to do. Oh, and actually I have two things. We have a community outreach team because we know that giving back to our community is part of how we give back in this world. And we have at least 4 groups that they have come up with that we're going to be helping from now over the holidays, whether it's giving them socks and warm things. They're still working out what they're going to do, but if you want to be part of that, want to know more, pay attention to the newsletter that comes to your email every week. Talk to Sarma, and you can be part of one of those 4 things that are happening. The last thing is our beloved Lori Lucero, who went on to her next adventure earlier this year, left us many cool objects of art that are starting to be placed around. Who noticed a dragon out front as you walk up our path? Chinese dragon. Thank you, Lori Lucero. There are other little tidbits, and at some point we're going to pull all this together. She also gave us an amount of cash that I'm not even going to tell you what it is, but it is 6 figures that she left us. So if you want to talk about how to do a game-changing thing for Althea, put us in your will, right? I'm just going to say it. Anyway, at one point we will bring all of these amazing gifts that she gave us together, and we'll tell you all about it, because it was a very special thing that she did to plan for us. So with that, as we wrap this up, we will have a closing prayer, and we will have a community song, and I want to thank everyone so much for being here, and we'll see you in the dining room. Thank you.
Actually, we're going to have the closing, the community song before the closing prayer. So I'm going to let Rick get situated here. And I'm going to ask you all to stand as you're able and join me in morning as broken. God's recreation of
closing shout out. Something wonderful is happening to me right now.
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 My inner mystic is waking up.
My inner mystic is waking up.
I know it.
I know it.
I feel it.
I feel it.
I am it.
I am it.
So it is.
So it is.
I stayed up till early last night just to meditate, trying to absorb that all that energy. Because I don't have many people treat but I wanted to tell you, I've learned since before to